Hello friends, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about all of the grow lights in my collection. I thought it was about time to share about all of the different lights that I have, let you know what I like about them, what I don't necessarily like about them, just share everything with you because it's that time of year, it's winter, it's dark, and I know it is airing on the brighter side these days, but I still use grow lights all year round, so thought it was time to get into it officially. Before I do though, I want to say if you're new here and you don't know me already, hi, my name is Emma and I make houseplanty content all over the internet. So if you want to follow along with my houseplanty journey and maybe learn something along the way, stick around, watch some more of my videos, and subscribe to my channel. If you're not new here, thank you so much for coming back. I really appreciate it. I hope you enjoy this video too. So I personally use grow lights to supplement the amount of light I have in my home for my houseplants. I live in the UK. During the winter time especially, it is dark. There is not very many sunny days. Luckily, we've had a few recently and that's been great, but for the most part it is gray and overcast, which means that I'm not getting that much light in my home. Also, in the depths of winter, we could have as little as like 6 hours of like daytime throughout the day, and then it just the sun sets again and then we're plunged into darkness, and that is not necessarily ideal for a lot of the plants in my collection that tend to be more on the tropical side of things and typically come from environments with usually a lot more hours and intensity of light. So I use grow lights in my home to supplement that, to help them grow better, live happier lives, and just be nicer houseplants. So I have 16 grow lights scattered throughout my home that are on for a myriad of different times. Some are on from 7 in the morning until 10 at night. Some are on from an hour before sunset until 10 p.m. All of my lights turn off at 10 p.m. just because I'm like, I'm gonna go to bed now. But they come on at varying points during the day depending on where they are in my home and how much light that place naturally gets, how much light I want to be giving those specific plants. And so it all just depends a little bit. But of those 16, I have 7 different types of lights. I have duplicates of many of them because I do quite like them. So I thought I would share with you the 7 grow lights I have and talk about what makes them different, what makes them special, what I like or don't like about them. And yeah, give you links to that, prices, information, lux. I pulled out my light meter for this and I'm gonna share with you the brightness of them all, which is fun as well. And I do have some discount links to share with you too. Disclaimer, I am an affiliate of some of these grow light companies, but none of them are paying me to make this video. I might get a small commission if you buy through some of my links, but that's at no extra cost to you, and I totally understand if you don't want to buy through my links, but it does help me out a little bit, and it probably gets you a discount, so I mean, it's a win-win situation here. So yeah, that's my little disclaimer. Cool. Let's go into these. They're in no particular order, I should say. I really struggled to think about how I wanted to put these in an order, and then I just decided that I cannot possibly put them in order from best to least because there's things I like about all of them and dislike about some of them as well. So it didn't really make sense. So the first one I'm going to be talking about is the Soltech Grove light. This beautiful thing. This is actually my first grow light from Soltech. It is an LED bar and it retails for about 105 pounds. Not sure what that is in other currencies. They are typically US based, but they do ship internationally, and so I'm glad that I was able to get my hands on one of these. I have it in my Bar cabinet, my little mini greenhouse, and I think it works really well in there because it's like a good size for it. It fits kind of perfectly in that space, which I quite like. But they're US based, they do ship internationally. If you are interested in trying it elsewhere in the world, that's great. It tends to put out a bit of a warmer light. I should say, for all of these lights, they're all white light. I'm not a fan of the pink grow lights. I just don't like how they look at my home, and I use my grow lights as lights in my home instead of using lamps. I use my grow lights, so I want them to all be very natural, something that you might get out of a lamp anyways. But this one is a warmer side of the white, which isn't necessarily my favorite. I do prefer something slightly more neutral, but it looks good in my cabinet. It makes it glow quite nicely. And gives it a warm feel, so I'm not mad at it that much. I do love how sleek it is. It is a very, very beautiful grow light. Very sleek and minimal. It doesn't even look like a grow light, it just looks like a light. And you can also get them in black or white, which is awesome. I got black because that just matches my home a lot better. But if you're into white decor, you can get a white one as well. It does only come in one size though. This is the one size. If you're looking for a different Soltech light, they have bulbs and pendant lights as well. But in this sort of bar light, there is just the one size. I found that it was really easy to install as well. It has little magnetic brackets that snap on to each end, and you can either drill those into something, like screw it in, or they come with like double-sided sticky, like really strong stuff that I have used in my Acro bar just to keep the brackets on there, and this just magnets in and it works really well. It also apparently has a touch power button and like dimmer, but I personally never use this. I just leave this at its brightest and let it go. I will say that it is not the brightest light. From about 20 centimeters away, or about 8 inches, it only puts out about 3,500 lux, which is on like the medium light intensity side. It's definitely not bright and direct, but it's a good medium. Further away, about a meter away from a light like this, it's not putting out any. I wouldn't really put plants further than like 20-30 centimeters away from this one, just because it isn't the strongest, but for what I'm using it for, it works perfectly. Up close to plants, it is doing the job, and the plants that I have in there are perfectly happy with it. So yeah, it's a good little light, and I'm glad that I have given it a go. Very similar looking, I have this one here. This is the PlantSpectrum grow light from Mother, and they actually make two sizes of this one. This is the PlantSpectrum 16, and they also have a 32. I do have both of them in my home, and I do really like them, though they do err on the more expensive side. For this size, it's 119 pounds, and for the large one, which is double the length, it is 199. So they're definitely not cheap, but I do think that they are worth the money personally. Mother is an EU-based company, and they also ship internationally, so you can get these wherever you are in the world. I think they have a few different types of lights, but their PlantSpectrum one is the one that they're known for the best. It puts out a really, really lovely full spectrum, very neutral white light. I think of all the grow lights in my collection, the Mother PlantSpectrum lights put out the light that I like the best, because it is very neutral. It's not too warm, it's not too cold. I also find that these are super sleek, similar to the Soltech ones. They are super duper clean lines, minimal, but unfortunately these only come in black at the minute. I don't know if they are ever going to come out with one in white. I don't mind, because black is my preferred color, but I mean, I know some people would prefer in white as well. They just don't have that. But again, it's also really easy to install. There are a few different options you have to install it. So I have this one on its base here. So this base comes with the light, but it also comes with brackets that you can attach to the end, and you can either screw those into the wall, you can double stick them onto the wall. They also have even more mounting options, but those do cost more. They have wires you can hang them from, and a little stand that you can have it sitting horizontally like this. And I think for most people, just having the stand and the brackets should be okay. But of course it depends on what you're trying to do in your home. For me, these work just fine, but I do like how adaptable they are and how you can hang them in different ways if you would like to. Another pro about the Mother PlantSpectrum lights is that the LED board inside of here is rated to like last for like 8 to 10 years of pretty regular use, which is amazing. You know it's going to be a long-lasting grow light, But when eventually it does die, because all lights will eventually die, you can get replacement LED boards, so you don't have to get rid of the entire housing, the entire light of this. You don't need to throw this away. You can just take this cap off and slide the LED board out and replace it with a new one. So it is a bit more sustainable than other options in that kind of thing. I don't think the Soltech grow lights have that, or any really of the other ones I have. Maybe the fluorescent one, but I don't think that really counts. This one doesn't put out tons and tons of light, but I honestly think it is good enough for a lot of plants in my home, especially if you're keeping them fairly close to the light and for many hours in the day. Both the 16 and the 32 put out fairly similar light as well. One is just obviously bigger, so puts it out across a wider surface area. At about 20 centimeters away, the light output is about 3,500, again, medium light, and about a meter away, it gets to about low light. But like I said, I think that's fine for what I'm using it for. I don't have these particularly far away from many of my plants, so it works just fine. Next up, we're gonna talk about these guys. These were the first ever grow lights I ever got back like 2019, I think. I made a video unboxing these. Little baby Emma unboxing some grow lights, having no idea what I'm talking about. But I got these on Amazon, I think for fairly cheap. I don't know if these exact ones are available anymore. Like I said, I bought them years and years and years ago, so I'm not sure that they can be found again, but you can find similar online. I got these on Amazon. I think they were like around 20 pounds at the time, 25 pounds. So really not that expensive. And honestly, I think that they were a good light to try out at the beginning. So they are a gooseneck grow light, and they have a clamp here, so I can clamp this to a shelf and have these move around however I need. However I see fit. I can point them at the same direction, I can point them in different directions as I need to, which is quite good. It's nice to have a flexible grow light. The light they put out isn't exactly my favorite. It is a little bit warm for my liking, but it does the job, and I'm not gonna get rid of them just because I don't like the light. I'm going to use them until I can't use them anymore, and then maybe replace them with something different. But again, the light output isn't huge. Just one of these, if we just say this one's pointing in another direction, this light puts out about 4,000 lux from just 8 inches, 20 centimeters away. If you have both of them together, it puts out, oddly, only an extra 500 lux, so 4,500. So slightly brighter than something like the Soltech or the Mother, but still not in the bright indirect or even direct light, which I do have some lights that produce direct light from that distance. And then further away, obviously it's producing not very much into the low category. But again, if you have them on for long periods of time, they can put out enough light to satisfy houseplants. Though, like I said, I probably won't be buying these again. I don't really need to. I do like the flexibility of being able to move them, but I feel like I'd just rather something else. You can, I believe, take out the bulbs. So in theory, I guess the bulbs are replaceable. I think this is an E27 thing. So I could actually put a different grow bulb, because both of those grow bulbs I have there are E27 screw sockets, mountings. So maybe once these LED panels die, I can put something else in there and just keep using the gooseneck, because the gooseneck is very sturdy. I can bend these and they will stay pretty much wherever I want them to, which I like. Also, the clamp is fairly sturdy too. And, okay, it also has dual switches, so I can turn them on and off individually. If I wanted just one on or the other, I can do that. But I have both of the switches set in the on position all the time, because I let them turn on and off through my smart power strips like I do for the rest of the lights in my home. If I were to replace the bulbs in that, once those die, I think I would replace them with this light. This light is from Grow Gang. It is the Pianta light, and it is just a bulb with an E27 screw. I think they also have B22 bayonet like attachments if you've got a different light socket, a bayonet one instead of a E27. But the one thing about these is that they are UK only at this point in time. I don't know if they have plans to expand further in the future, but for now, they are UK only. They are very decently priced. They're probably the best priced for what they put out in my experience. These are only £35, which I think is a really great deal. They also come in black or white. I have both of them. I think the black only comes in the E27 screw mount though, rather than the bayonet. So I do like that they are expanding into black and white because, like I said, I do prefer a black light. Not a black light, a black housed light. I'm also quite a fan of the light that they output. It is fairly neutral. It goes a tiny bit warm. It's slightly warmer than that of the Mother Grow lights, but not too warm as the sort of like clamp lights that are like very extremely warm. It's a good medium ground. It's not too pink either, which I find some grow lights do err on that side. Even if they are white light, they can shine a little bit pinky. So I'm glad that this one doesn't do that. I also think that this is the best looking bulb. The other bulb I have, which I'll talk about in a second, looks like this. And I just much prefer the sleekness of this one. So in any of my lamps that I have that don't have a cover, I like to use these ones rather than these because I don't think this looks as nice. But that goes to the downside of these ones. You do need to have a lamp to put it in because it is just the bulb. So if you already have a lamp that has an E27 or bayonet screwy thing, you can use that, or through Pianta you can buy a clamp with a gooseneck, just a single one, or they have a full like stand lamp that like has this come hanging down like this. So they do have options for that online if you didn't have the lamp already. I personally have put these in my own lamps. I have a couple of Arcadia lamps. I also have a clamp that I got that's black to match the black one elsewhere in my home, but these ones produce a whole heck of a lot of light. From 20 centimeters away, they're producing 25,000 lux. 25,000! That is on the low end of the direct light scale, so that's as if my plant is sitting right next to a window with direct sun beating on it. It produces the same amount of light as that, which is pretty phenomenal for something so small. And that's at the close distance. Further away, about a meter away, it is still producing quite a lot of light. It's 3,800 lux, so about medium light from a medium distance away. So it produces quite a lot, which I really like, and the plants that I have near it really like as well. I have a Ficus Shiveriana underneath it, and that one is just absolutely loving it, putting out new growth non-stop with this light on it. It did, however, bleach my Alocasia poly because that plant doesn't do well in direct sun. So you do need to be a bit more aware with these lights about not putting plants that aren't going to enjoy that direct sun too close to it. Otherwise you could end up bleaching and burning the leaves. But yeah, I am a big fan of these Grow Gang ones. I will definitely be getting more in the future, especially when those other ones in my clamp light go south eventually. Another bulb I have is this one here. This is a Sansi 36 watt LED crazy looking thing. It is an intense looking light. I mean, not my ideal in terms of aesthetics, but again, I don't necessarily get grow lights entirely for aesthetics. I do like when they look sleek like this, but I know that that can't always be the case, and so I wanted to try this one as well. At the moment, I don't think these are being sold. Not sure why. I originally got this one on Amazon, I think for like 35, 40 pounds, but I haven't seen them available on Amazon in a minute. I'll still link it below in case they do come back on sale, but just know that that's what it costs. I think they're an Asian-based company. I'm not positive on that. Don't hold me to that. But I think they're Asian-based, and they do ship internationally, which is great. So any of my US followers, you can get these as well if that's something that you're interested in. They also have a whole bunch of different types of lights. If you look on the Sansi website, I have only tried this bulb from them, so this is the only one I can speak to. But this one puts out a whole heck of a lot of light. It is very similar in brightness to the Grow Gang one. It puts out about 26,000 lux at 20 centimeters away, which is, like I said, equivalent to direct light indoors. And similarly, at about a meter away, it puts out 5,000 lux. So actually higher than something like the Mother or the Soltech one is putting out at 8 centimeters. It's putting out at a meter, 5,000 lux. So kind of getting higher in the medium to bright indirect light realm. So if you're looking for something that packs a punch, that you're not going to put something too close to, because again, this will bleach your plant's leaves if it's too close to that. I have my glorious, far too close to a Sansi bulb in this lamp here, and I know it is bleaching this one's leaves, unfortunately. That's something that I need to deal with, but it is also supplying light to the rest of the sideboard area, so I just need to figure something else out for that plant, but this one is incredibly bright. It is also a fairly neutral warm light, I think very similar to the Grow Gang. I feel like these are fairly comparable in terms of what they output. It is a slightly warm but mostly neutral light, and it has the same cons of that you need a lamp to put it in. I don't believe they sell lamps like Grow Gang does, but you can find like clamp gooseneck lights or lamps that have E27 slots from online pretty easily. So it's not that hard. I mostly have these in covered lamps, so you can't see the bulb because I don't think that they are exceptionally beautiful. Next up, I'm going to talk about something slightly different. All of the lights up until now have been LED lights, but I also have fluorescent grow lights in my collection. Actually, quite a few of them. These were the second grow lights I ever got, and it was kind of before I fully understood that LED would be better long term. But these have still lasted quite a long time. I think probably 4 or 5 years, and they're still growing strong, going strong. I have these in my cabinet and on my plant shelves in the office because they put out the right amount of light, in my opinion, for that like distance to a shelf. I feel like it's a good amount of light for that and for those plants in that area. From 20 centimeters away, they're putting out 5,000 lux, which is again the medium to bright indirect range, and I think it works quite well for my plants. The only thing about these is that, one, I don't think they look very pretty, and two, like I said, they are fluorescent. I don't think I would buy these again, purely because I much prefer LED. They tend to be more energy efficient than fluorescent ones, and I don't know, I wonder if I could replace these bulbs. I probably could if I went to a hardware store. I could probably find them or find them online, but I don't really feel like I want to do that with these. Sorry, now I need to put this back in. There we go. I do find that they are also a bit on the flimsier side. This bit is reflective, but it is just plastic, so they're not the sturdiest, and they don't really have any specific way of installing. You can see I have command Velcro on them here, and that's because I use the command Velcro to stick them onto the surface, and that has worked really, really well for me and these, but I probably wouldn't get these again. Though it is cool that you can daisy chain them together. If you did want to like put a bunch in a row, you can daisy chain them together on the same power cord, so that is a pro. But again, I don't even know if you can buy these anymore. I got them so long ago, and I wouldn't necessarily recommend buying them in the future, but they're part of my grow light ecosystem, so it is important for me to share them with you. I should also say that I'm pretty sure they were only like 20 pounds each when I bought them, and that's why I bought like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I spent 100 pounds on grow lights and I got 5, which is quite nice, but I do think you lose a bit in terms of aesthetics when you spend less money. So it's a balance. It depends what you want your home to look like. These have been fine for now. I'm kind of just waiting for the day that they decide to kick the bucket, but I don't know when that will be. And I really don't know what I'm going to replace them with either. That's going to be a fun time when I have to replace all of these, because these are on almost all day, especially in my Millsville cabinet. They're on from 7 a.m. until 10 p.m. every single day. And the last grow light I have, it's very similar in aesthetic to the fluorescent ones I have. This is the Arcadia Jungle Dawn 34 watt LED bar. It is kind of the same thing but LED. It's also much more robust. Its siding is metal as opposed to plastic, but I mean, it was also 3 times the price. These retail at about 60 pounds per light, so not cheap, but definitely a lot more like strong than the fluorescent ones I have. I should also say that these are originally created, and I think maybe the Hot 5 24 watt ones are also, but I think these are originally created for reptiles to use in like reptile enclosures, but people use them for grow lights as well, and they work perfectly fine for grow lights. They put out a whole heck of a lot of light though. I do also quite like that this is a neutral light. I do think it airs slightly more on the cooler side or the pinker side than the yellow side. I have this one in my Rudsta cabinet and it is perfect for my cacti and succulents. It was definitely too bright for the sort of tropicals I had in there before. From 8 inches, 20 centimeters away, this light burns at like 20,000 lux, which is firmly in that direct light category. So perfect for my cacti and succulents that are going to want that intense bright light all the time, but too hot, too bright for more tropical things. I think my Regal was not a fan of it. I think my allocations weren't a fan of it either. That's why I changed that whole cabinet away from a tropical cabinet into a cactus cabinet, and all of the things in there are growing so much better now. Further away, at a meter away, about at the bottom of the cabinet that I'm using, it's maybe like 3,500 lux, so more on the medium indirect light side, but still enough for my cacti and succulents to be perfectly happy in there. I also have this one running all day, so they're getting quite a lot of intense light all day long, which I'm sure that they are very much so enjoying. They do have other sizes of this light. I think they come in a variety of sizes. This one might be one of the bigger ones. I don't know if the smaller ones put out the same intensity of light as this big one, so I can't really speak to that, but if they do, that means that they are massively powerful small little lights. So definitely something to think about if you are looking into a grow light for higher light plants. Something like this could do really, really well for them. So that is that. Those are all of the grow lights I have in my collection and what I think about them all. I really hope this helped you potentially make a decision on what grow lights you would want for your space. If you do have any questions, don't hesitate to put it in the comments below or shoot me a message over on Instagram. I will always try and help with this kind of stuff because I know it can be a little bit complicated if you're not sure what you're doing. It's still complicated, even though I do know kind of what I'm doing. So I get that it can be difficult. I will also make sure to link all of these lights down below, some of which have discount codes, like I said, so if you want to use those, they're there, but obviously no pressure. Before I sign off, I want to say a huge thank you to the newest member of my Good Growing fam over on Patreon. Thank you so much, Angela, for joining in. I hope you love it over there and enjoy all of the bonus content and live chats and voting and everything that there is to explore over in that space. If anyone else is interested in joining my Patreon, it is about £3 or $4.50 or €4-ish every month, and just for that one flat monthly fee. You get everything. There's no tiers or anything. Everyone gets everything because I like that it is like accessible to as many people as I possibly can make it accessible to. So it's there if you want it. Absolutely no pressure if you don't want to join. It just makes my life a bit easier. And makes my ability to make content for you like this a little bit easier. Get these grow lights, pay for these grow lights. £3 a month is what it takes to run one of my grow lights for a month. So you can think of joining my Patreon as like running one of my grow lights for a month, and if you do, that is absolutely phenomenal. But again, no pressure. The rest of you, thank you all so much for being here. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up down below and leave a comment on other houseplanty things you'd like me to talk about in the future, and subscribe for more. Thanks again so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Don't forget to keep growing. Bye!